At this time, I would like to introduce Leo Quinn, a member of the Saratoga Central Catholic class of 1986. He'll be giving us a special presentation. His uncle, the original Leo Quinn, was the valedictorian of the St. Peter's Academy class of 1923, 100 years ago. Leo is here today to finish something his uncle was unable to do on his graduation day. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Leo Quinn.
Thank you, thank you, Ms. Izo, Mr. Signor. Good morning, soon-to-be graduates, family, friends, honored guests, my family and friends. Who is this guy standing between me and my diploma is probably what at least 28 of you are thinking. As Ms. Izo said, I'm a member of the class of 1986. Our graduation day was June 20th, 13,517 days ago, if you're keeping track at home. I don't think any of my classmates are here today, but Mr. Kelly's wife, Christine King, was our salutatorian. I don't know if you've ever met her. Her father, Bob King, was my basketball coach and Mr. Signor's basketball coach and a member of the class of 1955. My father, Leo Sr., here today in case I was unable to fulfill my duties, was also a member of the class of 1955, the first class to graduate from the building you've called home during your high school careers. My grandfather, Robert L. Quinn, was owner of Quinn's Colonial Tavern on Broadway in Saratoga, which you might be familiar with or remember if you're of a certain vintage. We think he was a member of the class of 14 or 15 at St. Peter's. We can't confirm that. Now, I'm not here because of my knowledge of my family history as it relates to Spa Catholic or St. Peter's, but rather, as Ms. Izo said, because my great-uncle Leo was a member of the class of 1923. Their graduation day was almost exactly 100 years ago, June 24th, 1923, or 36,524 days to be exact. Great-Uncle Leo was a 16-year-old high school senior, an altar boy, class president, and valedictorian of his class. Sadly, he drowned in Saratoga Lake on a school field trip 4 days before his high school graduation. Several years ago, I was going through some family papers, and I found his speech, or at least most of it, on a now one typewritten page, now yellowing, piece of lined paper. And I'm here to deliver that speech 100 years late. And I thought it would be appropriate, since we only have one good picture of Uncle Leo, that I brought it with me. Everything I know about Great-Uncle Leo, I know from Saratogian newspaper accounts of the graduation and the drowning. There were only 7 graduates that day, including Uncle Leo. He would have been the 8th. And in case you might be related to any of them, they were Albert Joseph Biggie, Helen Mary Callahan, Mary Catherine Gorman, Lillian Mary Canali, Catherine Agnes McCarthy, Catherine Teresa Reynolds, and Eugene Joseph Sullivan. Uncle Leo was headed to Holy Cross in the priesthood. He was awarded a couple prizes at the graduation, as many of you were, including the Alumni Prize for the student who made the best record during his 4-year high school course in St. Peter's School. That prize was a $5 gold piece. So if I could pick that up while I'm here, save you having to mail it to me. Great, thank you, thank you. And while we're talking about me, it's not clear from the program, is this one of those honorary doctorate type deals? It is, oh, well. Good news, Mom, we finally have a doctor in the family. Very good. 100 years ago seems like a long time, and it is, but there are people here today who have lived 55, 60, 70, 80, and maybe even 90% or more of 100 years. So it goes fast. And you're getting ready to get on the roller coaster, so be prepared. In 1923, riding in cars was a special occasion, and they didn't carry all of humanity's knowledge around in the palm of their hands like we do today. Only 35% of homes had telephones in the 1920s. We're getting back to that number now in terms of landlines. Less than 50% of homes had electricity or indoor plumbing. In 1923, the invention of television was still 4 years away. Entertainment was found in local silent movie theaters, vaudeville, or hopping the trolley to Ballston Spa or Mechanicville for a dance or a basketball game. According to a journal entry of my grandfather from February 1921, a great basketball game between Saratoga and Mechanicville had a final score of 22-18. When I read that, I immediately thought your principal would have been the Michael Jordan of that time. But then I looked up the rules of basketball back then. 2 15-minute halves, traveling was a foul, you could only re-enter the game once, there was a jump ball after every basket, which really slowed things down, and coaches could not talk to players during a timeout. That really would have changed my high school basketball experience. Mr. Kelly, if you're listening to this, please don't tell your father-in-law. Heck, in the mid-1950s, when my mother, Ann Pembroke Quinn, was playing at the College of St. Rose in Albany, only half of the team could go over half court. So things were a bit different back then in basketball and in the world. It's impossible to know what life will be like 36,000 days from today, but it's fun to think about. Now, here's what was on Uncle Leo's mind in 1923, and unfortunately, you couldn't change font sizes in 1923. So, we wonder if you can realize just how proud we are of this privilege of appearing before you tonight and listening to the words of welcome which gladden our hearts and encourage our ambitions to be men and women worthwhile. The class of 1923 appreciates this reception and thanks the alumni in no high-sounding phrases, but in words that express only feebly the grateful feeling of our souls. Words are elastic. They may be small and worthless, or they may be made to cover more than we realize. But these words of mine, on behalf of the class, are far too weak to convey the emotions that are flooding the innermost recesses of our being. This is the first glimpse of the glamour that life school has held out to us. We as boys and girls, juggling with our Virgil, physics, algebra, geometry, and the other subjects of the high school curriculum, under the pale gaslight, when the lure of the movies was bidding us on, had to deny ourselves many pleasures in order to attain the goal of graduation. So we never requested mirth to admit us to her crew. The high school graduate is comparatively young in years. He has all his life before him. He has been getting ready for life during all the years of his past existence, but as yet he has not really lived. So the class of 1923 salutes you, not with the words of the unfortunate hostages of Caesar, morituri salutamus, but rather with the joyous words of youth, victuri salutamus. We who are about to live salute you. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. It is a fine thing to be alive. It is a fine thing to know you are alive, but it is a much finer thing to be able to contain the subtle essence of your aliveness and put it to the highest possible use. We intend to make the most of living in a religious and intellectual sense with the aid of Him. He certainly was a deep-thinking young man of 16. And of course, it's impossible to miss the sad irony of his focus on being alive and having all his life before him. The speech ends with a colon, indicating I think he probably wasn't quite finished with it yet. So in keeping with the times, I went to artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and said, pretend you are a 16-year-old male high school valedictorian at St. Peter's Academy in Saratoga Springs, New York in June 1923, and finish this speech using vernacular of the day. And unfortunately, she didn't come up with anything very good. She's new. Check with me in 10 years. I'll be at the 150th graduation. We'll see how that goes. But my cousin Tracy Quinn, here today, pointed out that the colon is a great metaphor for where you are right now. Unfinished, could go anywhere, could do anything. And you have the opportunity that he did not. The opportunity to be men and women worthwhile. And I hope you use it well. So I will conclude with one last assignment for you, an assignment your descendants in the class of 21-23 will really appreciate. At my graduation day, 13,517 days ago, all 4 of my grandparents were alive. They were in attendance. They attended my sister Kathleen's graduation in 1987 as well. In case you might be related to one of them, they were Frank Pembroke, Rita Donahue Pembroke, Kathleen Driscoll Quinn, and Robert Quinn. When I graduated from Siena just 4 years later, only my mother's mother was left. So sometime in the next few days, I would encourage you to sit mom, dad, and any grandparents you're lucky enough to have down in front of your phones, turn on the video, and ask them 150 questions about their lives. You can get those questions from Google. Update these interviews every 5 years or so for as long as you can. They probably won't want to do it. They'll think it sounds weird or too self-important. Your siblings or cousins may tease you about it. But in 10, 20, 50, 100 years from now, those people will be really grateful you did it. Congratulations, graduates. Gentlemen, hang on to your hair as long as you can because it goes fast. And best wishes to all of you in your next chapters and beyond. Thank you.